There we go.
So we have 4 people now on the stream.
Nope, you're on the wrong stream. Hey, you gotta mute your stream. But you're on the wrong stream. You gotta exit that now, and there's a new live stream set up because that live stream is ended.
I do.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, Justin, close out that browser. Go back to Beach Bum's YouTube account, and then there'll be another live stream active.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, Justin, close out that browser.
I'm gonna mute it now. Okay. All right.
There we go.
All right. Well, I gotta watch that screen. I'm gonna cover it up. There we go.
Adam, you there?
Yeah.
We're not live yet, right, Adam?
All right, there we go. Hey, you know, nothing like a good show without some technical difficulties.
So we're live right now?
All right, okay. Sorry everybody for that.
I think maybe, hold on.
Can you hear me? You guys can't hear me?
I can hear you, Adam, yeah.
Maybe Joel left us.
I can hear you, Adam, yeah.
Yeah, we had to go live. Sorry, with that one, I did a schedule now. Okay. You're breaking up, Joel.
What about now?
You seem a little better now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay, I refreshed page and got kicked out. Yeah. Let me just tell chat real quick. Hey, sorry. Yeah, so that was weird. It corrupted and failed on my end and then kicked everybody out. So, all righty, here we go. Just want to do the official kickoff. Joel and I had talked about this before we had all those crazy technical issues. So thanks for everybody bearing with us on that. But basically wanted to introduce myself. I am Adam Hallbleib. I'm the Beach Bum Exotic side of these interviews. And, you know, Joel and I have been doing them for a couple of weeks now. We've been having a lot of fun and we've been getting some, great responses out there. And we've been having people like Justin, Ozzy, several other breeders out there agree to do these interviews. So it's really been taken off and they're a lot of fun. My co-host tonight, which these things do alternate. If it's on my channel, I'm the host. Joel will host his channel, is Mr. Joel from State 48. So I'll let you go for it, Joel.
Yeah, how are we doing tonight, guys? I'm Joel from State 48 Exotics. I don't know if everybody is hearing me right now exactly, but yeah, we're just having a really good time here. We're fortunate enough to be able to talk to Justin about just tremendous things, I feel like, tonight. So I'm just excited everybody showed up. So I don't know. What do you guys think? And then we have Justin here. Do you want to take your time to introduce yourself? Let everybody know who you are if they don't already.
Yeah, I'm Justin. And excited to be here. And thanks for sharing your channel with me for tonight. And I don't do a lot of this live streaming thing, so I'm looking forward to kind of getting my feet wet with that a little bit.
Yeah. The live streaming thing's weird because like it's tough is we can see chat like instantly on our end, and then there's like that 15-second delay. And then we finally are replying to somebody. So I feel like the chat never like catches up, or we never catch up to where chat's at. So I don't know. I feel like it might look weird, but it's pretty fun.
I'm glad it's like everybody's fine.
Definitely good time
here. So
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we're really happy to have you on tonight. So, well, we probably let a few people that weren't aware that we started a new stream join before we kind of get into the good meat and potatoes. You know, Justin wanted to ask you just a few basic questions, but Joel, it sounded like you were about to get into something. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, Yeah, I was just gonna ask Justin, maybe like that just like entry level question, kind of like what you're saying, like let everybody come back. But how did you get started? I feel like everybody likes to know everybody's story. So
Yeah,
take that away.
for sure. Okay, so I got started, man. I'm like everybody else. This was like from birth. It seems like I think reptile loving is a. It sounds weird to say reptile loving.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I like it.
Reptile enthusiasm is a genetic.
Yeah.
I think it is a codom, maybe, or maybe recessive. Neither of my parents were reptile enthusiasts at all. They're both scared to death. But for me, it's just always like, I still remember the first time I ever saw a snake in the wild. And like the adrenaline, man, that I felt when I found that. And I was scared. I ran the other direction, but man, it like stuck with me. It's an amazing experience.
Right.
And then there comes a point when you realize that, you're just weird, and that's okay. But everybody else has this weird phobia, but you don't. And that becomes like a superpower, especially as a teenager. It's like a superpower to be able to like grab a rattlesnake off the ground when everybody else is like, what?
Right.
I did a lot of that back in the day.
Man, yeah, that's gnarly.
Yeah. It was just anything that,
Sure, your mom loved that.
So what's that?
I said, I'm sure your mom loved that. Hearing all the stories.
It wasn't well accepted. But, I guess fast forward, I just got into high school, started keeping lots of stuff. In fact, I have a great video, if you guys haven't seen it, on YouTube, of 15-year-old Justin, I think it was, 15-year-old Justin in my little snake room, and all the stuff I'd caught. And it's really nerdy. It's hilarious, actually. It's on YouTube. It's my 100th video. It's really funny.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got started. And then, I got into college, and I was a junior in college when I first started seeing ball pythons, and was blown away because they're just so cool, right? I mean,
they are, man.
They rock, So got into that. I got in at good timing, everything was kind of just, infancy, and I've been doing it for 15, 16 years.
Yeah. Solid. Yeah, that's that's some dedication right there.
Yeah.
Sure. So is this your
doing corn snakes and king snakes?
Right.
And is this your full-time job, Justin? Like, is this what you do daily, or do you have another job also?
Yeah, I think this is year number 8 now, full-time.
Awesome. Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah, been doing it for a good while. It was a tough decision to go full-time, but best decision I ever made, and it just gets better and better.
Yeah, I could imagine. Well, obviously, I mean, look at your year so far. I mean, every year seems like the next innovating year. It blows my mind, like what you're producing right now. It's just insane. So we're glad you made the decision, I guess.
Yeah.
I like seeing
my wife forced me to quit my job to do this full-time. It sounds weird, but like I was destroying myself with so much work.
Right.
And she's always been the risk taker. So she's like, just gotta quit your job. I'm like, hey, if she's saying it must be right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The wife always knows that.
Definitely.
Yeah. In this case,
that's what I was just about to say. That's for sure. Yeah. Very true. Well, that's cool, man. I bet you that was a huge decision, and so I don't know where Joel is going, but like I kind of wanted to hear maybe some of that decision-making process, right? Like, from the get-go of, all right, I'm doing well with ball pythons. I think I'm making some money. How did that kind of progress for you to something that you felt comfortable doing that with, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah, that was tough. So the way it actually happened is, it was I was just kind of getting going, and I bought out my partner, and I spent about 5 years. I had a financial partner got me into it because I was just a poor college student, had no money. I had lots of college debt.
Yeah.
And so it was my uncle, actually. All I could talk about was ball pythons all day, man. I'm sure I was just absolutely terribly boring to anybody around me, but I just wanted to do what I'm doing now. And I didn't even know at the time that it is actually financially viable. It's just all I wanted to do. And so the nice thing is, when you're passionate about something, this is something I believe today too, is when you're really passionate about something, people can't help but get on board, you know? And so I was, without even knowing, I was marketing to my uncle, you know, I was marketing myself and the fact that, hey, this guy, he's not going to let this business fail. You know, I can invest in him, you know, and he did. He invested a lot initially, you know, and I bought him out over 5 years, and it was pretty much the same month that I bought him out, I went full time. I stopped giving him all my profits and started,
okay,
you know, doing my own thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was amazing for him. It was amazing for me that he gave me that opportunity. I'm very thankful for it. But at the time, like I was getting to the point where I was unable to take care of my customers the way I wanted to, because my day job was just getting too involved.
Right.
And my day job was marketing for my uncle. He owns a cosmetic surgery center. So I was doing marketing and management for him, and just wasn't doing great. And so I had this huge order from Europe, and big thank you to that customer. And it was like 6 months worth of income for me. It's like, okay, now's the time. I'm going to quit now.
Oh yeah.
We'll make this happen. You know, we'll make this happen. Yeah. So I quit my job. I shipped the order, and half the snakes died in the shipment. The only international shipment ever had that happen on, ever. And so literally, I quit my job. I had to pay back. You know, my problems
what are you gonna do?
Customers' problems. Yeah. So took care of that, and like, man, it's sink or swim, and that's what I love. I mean, to me, that's where amazing happens, is when you have no choice but to go for it. And
that's how you forge it right there, because you have to. You have no other choice. You gotta do. Yeah, absolutely. So, that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bummer deal about those snakes. Man.
It is. You know, the thing is, it happens so rarely. I mean, that's the only international shipment I've ever lost. I think I've lost one domestic shipment now, and I don't know how many, 5,000, 10,000. I don't even know how many shipments I've lost. It's very rare, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. Okay, so I guess spin off that real quick, Adam. I don't know if you had something else.
Oh, sure. I do. I had maybe one little follow up to that. So, you know, that point you were paying off your uncle kind of for his investment. You were preparing to go full time in this. I mean, how many snakes did you have at that time, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what was
pretty small,
your collection size?
Or I probably had about, I want to say 100 adults, maybe. At that stage, I was averaging maybe 60 clutches a year at that point.
Okay.
So I
feel like that's a large amount. I mean, decent, I guess.
It is. I guess it is. It is. It just feels I was in a tiny little one room building, you know,
right.
In a very different situation. It feels like a world away. But it was much smaller collection at that stage.
Right.
Okay.
That's
very interesting.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so having known all that, then you've obviously been in the market for a while now. You said somewhere around the 15-year mark, I think. So what do you think's different about the market now than it was when you started? And do you see any trends maybe in where it's headed now?
Yeah, the market's way better now, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, now we have, I mean, if you look back, talk to some of the people who were killing the market back in the day, killing it in a good way with lots of money. It was just it was like Wild West, man. All those prices were just speculative, you know. It's just like when a stock first hits the stock market, and just the price just skyrockets, you know.
Right.
You couldn't keep a ball python, you know. People were just beating down your door to sell them. And I was a little bit involved in that market, but for the most part, my meat and potatoes kind of got going as that market was starting to change. And now we just have something that's way more dynamic. And the beautiful thing is that the pet side of it has become really the driver of our market. So that just provides the stability. There was never going to be stability the way it was. And that's what I was always scared about. For a long time, I was really scared about the nuts and bolts, whether or not this could continue, how long it could continue.
Yeah, the bubble.
Because it didn't really have that background of the pet trade. It was more about, hey, these are a bunch of guys who are all trading snakes. We're all involved. We all know each other. We sell to someone, they're competing with us. We all hate each other's guts in a way because we're all stealing sales from the same people. And but the amazing thing is that when the pet trade came in, and I always said it's going to happen when pies get to Petco, and when pies got to Petco, it changed the game. It really did.
Heck yeah. Pies are gorgeous.
Yeah, that's the snake that sold me on ball pythons.
Yep.
And I just knew if the masses saw pies, they would realize that there's a whole world of morphs. They come out and they discover us. And still, a lot of people want to breed, but I think that most of my customers that want to breed ball pythons want to do it for their own enjoyment, for their own thing. They don't have that, we're going to breed and sell them.
Right.
So it's nice to have that bedrock now of different kind of customer.
Yeah. And that's probably why we've seen I feel like a stabilization in prices too.
Right.
We're not seeing those swings.
Right. And we've come down to a price where most, an expensive mutation now, you're looking, 3,000 to 5,000. That's a range that is not inflated. That's a real world number. They can stay in the number for a good while. Different mutations can, and that gives everybody more confidence and the ability to be involved in the market without losing their pants.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Certain level of confidence.
We had a few questions. Oh, that's exactly. It is about confidence, right? You know what I mean? That's a lot of what this market is propped up on, is confidence and ability of people running the project and people in it and all that. We did have a couple questions come in, I think, and due to the delay, they would have been asked as we were going through it. But how many females or how many adults do you have now is what the question exactly was.
So now it's hard to say because what's an adult, right? And what's not quite an adult. But I think on average, I'm running about 250 to 300 adult females that I'm trying to breed, I'm probably closer to the 250 range. On a good year, I'll get 200 clutches. On a bad year, I'll get 150.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a. I mean, coming from I'm shooting for 7 this year.
Right.
That's a crazy number, but it spirals out of control though. The number grows so quickly, and you want to keep everything and everything so pretty, so I could see myself there, I guess is my point.
There's a lot of things that come in when you're scaling this, and that's where a lot of left the market long term when they failed at scaling as they tried, and it's difficult. It's difficult to do it well. Find employees you trust, procedures in. That's why most businesses will fail, is that during that scaling period. It's tough.
Right. I can see that.
Scaling, that's a little snake pun for you there. Scaling snakes is tough.
Yeah, there you go. We got jokes here tonight too.
Yeah. But no, I feel like that's one thing that we've done well, is we found a way. That's how my brain works. I think about procedures and ways of doing things that are repeatable. They're repeatable for employees and repeatable for myself. Systems in place financially, and ways of looking at things that you can continue on and do things with 20 clutches or 100 clutches or 1,000 clutches. You can keep doing it that way.
Right.
Yeah, it's not all about quantity, right? It's definitely, but about picking and all that type of stuff. Somebody asked a question earlier. I kind of feel it's good and maybe leads us into some other stuff. What was the first gene that you invested in? What was the one that you saw, you were like, all right, this is it?
I told me, but my first gene was a pastel.
Right. Okay.
It was just
and at that time, I'm sure they were still on 10.
Yeah, I want to say or something. It was pricey.
Right.
Second one was a pied. I got a pied female, and then a clown, and then a lavender.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, got those bedrock recessives. And back then, no combos existed. They were what they were. You could get a clown, you could get a pied, you can get a lavender. You couldn't get combos of any of that. Didn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
And lavender back then was super rare. I mean, probably only Tracy and Dave had those, I'm sure. Like,
yeah, the one I got cost $25,000, and it was one of the best investments I ever made. Every snake I bought back then was, I look at it as a massively amazing investment because they, of course, built into what we are today. But no, it was a cool snake. I was on top of the world when we got that snake.
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine back then you're holding a lavender. Like, I mean, God, that must have been just insane.
It was crazy because I was probably, I don't know, 20, 21 maybe. And here I am, bought this lavender, and I'm leaving. This is the Daytona Expo. I think it was 2005-ish. And Pete Call walked up to me. Of course, I knew who Pete Call was. Pete Call didn't know who I was, except for I was the guy who bought that lavender,
Right.
And he said, "Hey, I want to do a breeder loan. Will you send that mail? Will you send that mail to me to breed all my pied girls?" I was talking to me, that icon in business.
Right.
So it's man, it's amazing how that all went down, and all the stories from back in that day.
Yeah. Gosh,
Man,
yeah,
sure. I mean, like today that would honestly be like, you hitting me up out of the blue, like, Adam, I want a breeder loan from that male that I heard you just bought. Like, I would flip my lid. I'd be like, whoa, what?
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Funny,
man.
I wouldn't see it that way, Ned. I wouldn't see it that way, but I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, you've really set yourself as like one of the people in our hobby and industry that, I mean, you look to the future so far in advance, man, that you're light years ahead of people, right? And that's something that not a lot of people, I think, have when they're looking at these genes and how to stack them, and it's hard, right? And you hold that like perspective that's right with it. So
Yeah.
all right, enough butt kissing there. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
I like that.
Let me ask, changing gears a little too. Let me ask you, all right, if reptiles, like, what's your one dream job if it wasn't working with reptiles? What do you envision yourself doing, I guess?
Man, I don't know. It'd be business building of some sort. It would.
Right.
I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I don't know what it would be, to be honest with you. I like to go in and tackle a problem, and I'd want a job that somehow I felt like I was doing that, or building something special. I thought about, I'm getting into real estate a little bit, and I like that, and getting into cars a little bit. I really like that, and so. But man, to me, just the idea of building something that is, dealing with the everyday problems that come along with a business, I love that. That's part of why I think this would work so well for me, is because it's snakes, which I love, but it's a business which I also love.
Right. Yeah, you're solving problems. You're making things work. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, that's cool. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Any other questions? Or Joel, you got something you want to fire off?
So I mean, I guess this would kind of go along, but I had a question sent to me on Instagram, and it was along the ideas of projects or like a new gene. So I guess like the question is when do you think it's the best time to, let's say, show everybody the project that you've been working on, or introduce a new gene that you've been working on to make it maybe like have an impact on the market so people pay attention to it? Do you think, because I feel like sometimes you can go too early or late, or,
Well, all I can tell you is that I can tell you the questions that go through my mind when that question's asked, because it's so much of this business, because there's all these genes involved, all these combos, all these marketing strategies, and every project is different, right?
Right.
Every scenario is different. So really to be successful, you have to kind of gain just a sense for it. That's all it really is a sense.
Right.
But I can say that, so here's the questions that go into a new project. First of all, if you sell it too soon, right, you might get a lot for it, but you're not going to be able to convince somebody of its value if you've not done the work yet.
Right. Okay. That's perfect.
Unless you've established to the market that this gene has a lot of value, you're not going to get much for it, period. You're just not. Okay.
Right.
If you go in there and you establish all the value first, you got to put a lot of time in, but you're also risking the fact that it's not actually valuable.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to prove out a dinker. I've been working on some dinkers for 10 years and I still don't feel like, it's not that I don't feel like it's cool. I just don't feel like anybody else is going to think it's cool. So what's the point? You know, I've got to get to a certain place where I've proved that it's necessary. You got to have this for some reason. You know, you want every gene to be a GHI. You got to have a gene, you know? And so my general strategy on all this stuff is I got a lot of patience. I'm going to work, say it's a new project or a new gene. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to work with it until I can make something that makes people feel like they've got to have it. And then at that point, it holds the value that people see the value that I see, and you can get your money. But it takes a lot of patience. Most people don't have the stomach for the patience.
Yeah.
The other side is not, say you do make those amazing snakes, you got to be able to have the audience to get people to notice, right? I mean, there's a lot of people out there with amazing snakes, and when they post something, you know, 10 people see it, and that doesn't do the animal any justice, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. So do you think that the market has shifted more toward like more importance? I mean, obviously on like social media and stuff like that. I mean, here we are on YouTube doing a live stream. Do you think that's been a big change that has obviously occurred that's impacted the way the market has stabilized or decreased or increased?
Right. So what's changed is the market's gone wide, right? We used to have this core group of people who bought snakes from each other. We all knew who each other were. You didn't have to advertise anything because we all knew who we were and we all knew where we were. The animal we made, everybody would text each other or go on, you know, BLBC forums or whatever, and that's it. But now we have this giant market. The majority of these people out here aren't connected to where the core group of hobbyists are, right? And so unless you have an audience, social is really the only way to do it. Unless you create an audience to that core group, that group up there, you're just not going to be able to reach that wider market. And that's how the industry has changed. And that's where a lot of businesses, early businesses and established names that did not adjust. They either were on, there's two models they missed. They missed the going wide to the pet market side of it. They thought they could keep doing the whole
inner market
to the breeders. That, and they thought it was about new morphs only instead of combos, which in the end, the pet market does not care how rare a morph is. They want beautiful animals. They want beautiful, rare animals. They don't care if it's the next GHI or cinnamon, yellow belly. It means nothing to them unless they can see how beautiful it is.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's the high point there. Pay for, you know, the quality of the animal and how attractive it is.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And quit focusing so much on marketing to other breeders, because we are just this much of the market and you're missing all this picture. I want to be out here, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I feel like that's an overlooked, that's an entire overlooked audience.
Yeah, very true. And they're not connected to us. Unless you go out to them, they will never see you, period. They're just not. They're living their lives, you know, and they're seeing the people who have created the audience. Those are the people they're stumbling onto.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
I guess just to fill you guys in on chat, I'm getting called out on my man crush for Justin for my earlier comments. So just throwing that out.
Yeah, you really set yourself up for that, though. You know, you really did.
I totally did. It's all good though.
I probably love it more, but I didn't want anybody to know.
I see one from Image Reptiles. What gene you don't currently own that has huge potential? Man, if I see huge potential in something, I usually own it. Maybe I haven't made much with it yet, but I own it. I try to own it as soon as I can. There's a lot that I'm excited about. Like I said about the hurricane gene, I showed one of those in my last video. That's a neat gene.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do with it. A lot's been done over there, but I feel like I can put a different spin on it, and that's exciting. I still like the Sunset Project, although I'm barely in that. I think it's an amazing recessive that has a lot of legs long term.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know. Most of what I'm interested in are the crazy new combos. I think that as far as instead of new genes, new genes to me they're only valuable if they significantly can change up what I'm able to do.
Right.
Go about things. If I don't feel like they're gonna contribute making my animals look a lot better, or I don't see how that's gonna grab it.
We had a question come in earlier that was kind of, I think, would dovetail nicely with that. It's, what's the longest amount of time you've spent on a project? So like if you're looking at a gene and maybe it's reacting or not reacting, I don't know, what's the longest time that you've kind of spent proving something out or trying to make it work and then you decide, nah.
Yeah, when do you give up?
I don't give up much. But I will scale down. I will scale down. So usually what I'll do is I put traits on the back burner, which means I only keep girls. I'll grow them up in 4 years, breed them. Don't see anything. All right, I'll keep the best looking animal that clutch, sell everything else, grow that. Just keep waiting for something to be reactive in some way. But I don't know that I've ever given up on a project, to be honest with you. But all my experience with these dinkers and different snakes from Africa, it's really, really rare for them to prove out to be something big. Most of even the coolest looking ones will either not be genetic or will be genetic in a sense that it's hard to really show the value in,
Right.
So, I'm pretty clear
so I get
that after all my failures.
Yeah.
Well, fall forward. And you have.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's what I was going to say. I forget who kind of quotes famous person, but they're just basically saying you'll have more failures in your life than you will successes, and that's okay, right? Like we can't be afraid to fail. You've gotta get out there and try that. So yeah. And so kind of along that same line, Justin, so with projects, and the market and everything like that, we've touched a little on that where I think you shared some really important insight where the market is spreading right now, right? And trying to reach as many people as you can through social media, different platforms, things like that. So if you had to, I guess, mentor a newbie coming in right now, what would be your number one piece of advice to them? Not just really about the animals that they're buying, but more or less how do they kind of carry themselves right now in this market to be successful?
In this market, because it is social driven, the only way that I ever suggest anybody be on socials is be themselves. You're not going to last long if you're putting on a persona, that's the number one thing. And I feel like there's a lot of room out there for people to come in and be themselves on socials and talk about their journey as they learn. And there's a lot of people doing that too. But that's something I can't do. I can't go in and build a collection on YouTube from scratch and talk about what I'm learning. I just can't do that. My mind is way too far along the process. I can't go back.
Right.
And I think that's really the way to do it. I think people who see you along your journey, I look at success of Miguel. I think that he's been very successful in the sense that he's just authentic and he shows the stuff that he's learning as he's learning it. Man, people love going along on a ride, and learning as you learn and being part, and they want to invest with people that they know. They want to invest. I say invest. They want to buy a snake from somebody that they trust, because they've been there through the stages with them, And I was telling, Miguel had made all these amazing cypresses, and he was just selling them out to everybody I knew. I bought a cypress from Miguel this year. I couldn't sell them for anything for a little while there. But they wanted to buy his slipers from him because they saw him breed them, he saw them hatch them, he saw them show them out of the egg before the shed, after shed. Man, I'd want to buy one of those slipers.
Right, absolutely.
That's compelling. That's compelling social media, and I think that's the best advice I could give for anybody, especially if you don't have the wealth of experience necessarily if you're getting started to fall on. Just talk about what you learned and what, talk about those lessons, those failures, and those successes as you go.
That's great advice. Yeah. You're right, because you come across these channels and, and maybe it's them, it's obvious when they're not being themselves or they're trying to manufacture something to show you, whereas just kind of showing you the process, being who they are, and all of a sudden that just grabs you. I mean, you don't even have to be the most entertaining person out there, right? Like that will just grab you and pull you in.
Yeah.
I fell into that trap for a while there. I think about in the last year or so, I got kind of stuck on camera for a while, trying to say things just right. It's like, really, that's really not the way to go. You just let it be yourself, and that really draws people more than any amount of polish ever will.
Yeah, I like that.
Totally.
Authenticity, man. I like it. You know what? The first time I had met you, Justin, that you were exactly like you were on social media, so that was awesome. Like I knew you weren't faking. And I love that. That's how I've been, like Gavin from Balls to You. I met him in Tinley. You can tell he's 100% authentic. I love that about what like YouTube's doing for, I feel like, our community, making everybody, I feel like, a little closer too.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. Before we had to wait for somebody to post on the BLBC, before we all yelled at them or talked crap. Now it just happens instantly on YouTube.
Right.
No, I'm joking. But I do miss the BLBC. I remember seeing Justin post back on there, revolutionary animals.
Yeah, for sure. I missed it too. I mean, it was an addiction just refreshing that like 5 times a day, And then King Snake
for sure.
King Snake Classifieds back, I'd like, oh, two more ads. What are they for?
Right.
Next thing that you're looking forward pop up, and those were
totally.
Those were the days, man. I do miss them in a lot of ways. I do. But,
so I guess
that's for sure. Man, we have so many. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say we're like halfway. We could do a couple of questions from chat and then kind of resume again.
Oh man. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the questions have been pouring in. I've been touching on some of them as we've been talking, but some really good ones in here. Let me kind of go back up to the top to make sure I don't miss anybody here. Let's see.
We had the standard biggest sleeper gene question.
I like balls by
That's
choice.
tough.
Yeah. So Will Morrows, he has this question he always puts in our chats, and so we got to ask it. Biggest sleeper gene to you?
Well, because it's Will, I'm going to say it's the puzzle. That's just for you, Will. Is it custom answer?
And so we had somebody else in
puzzle.
the puzzle. All right, hey, puzzle's great.
Puzzle.
And then
I think all genes are sleeper genes. I really do. I think every gene is one combo away from being the next big thing. That's the attitude I go in when I breed and everything. I think what's the one thing that's going to take this combo from okay to like gotta have it.
Yeah.
And usually it's not the newest thing. It's something that's been on the back burner. People have this way of saying, oh, because it was an early gene, it somehow is not as valuable as a gene they just discovered. Like, just the order they're discovered in does not determine their value.
Right.
In combos, it's what they are, what they bring to the table. Everything has its own. We're not going to let the luck of the draw of when they were brought to market going to determine how valuable these animals are to me. They're going to be determined by what they can make, and I look at every gene as infinitely valuable.
Yeah.
Except for spider.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, and we had somebody ask, except spider.
No, I like spiders. It's just the market doesn't like spiders, and I get it. I understand.
Yeah, especially, there's been all this discussion lately with like the IHS banning that gene at their shows and things like that. So,
I've not heard that.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, over across the pond.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyhow. Had somebody also throw in there about the Russo gene, and that one kind of hit home to me because it was one of the first genes that like I had bought a male female pair, and I'm like, I'm gonna make my own white snake with blue eyes, and it's gonna be super
Yeah.
Russo because those are the whitest.
Yeah.
So the question was, what else do you see with the Russo gene other than clowns, right? We've seen it mixed with clown. It looks pretty nice, but do you see anything with the Russo gene?
I think there's no limit to what the Russo gene will do, except for you have to keep it out of the BEL complex. You have to keep it in the single gene form.
Right.
Because whatever you don't want white snakes, right? In the end, you want to use it as yet another color enhancement mutation. So, like I look at it in the same class as fire and vanilla and OD, and boy, there's infinite number of the special. Those
Yeah.
are all, to me, like they don't necessarily completely change a snake. They'll take any existing mutation and make it look better. So to me, like you stack it right in there with all those others. You just try to keep it away from lessers and Mojaves and butters and BEL complex,
Right.
so you don't lose your palette.
Right. Have you seen, so working with Russo, because it is kind of one of those genes that doesn't like, it's very hidden, I guess, once it gets stacked on other genes. Is there anything you look for when looking at that? Yeah.
I've only produced a handful myself ever, so I can't say I'm an expert in that. But the amazing thing is the most subtle of all the BEL complex genes. Very subtle. They're like kind of like a high gold look, In fact, I think if I remember right, that's what they're called. The original Russos were called like high golds or something. Until they produced a white snake.
Right.
And then the amazing thing is the most subtle of the complex produces like the whitest snake. Like, how does that work? That makes no sense.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff doesn't make any logical sense. We just take it for what it is, but it's very interesting.
It is.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun, right? Almost, like everything you're getting into with these, right? It's not always predictive, which like that's the beauty about it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, Joel, do you want me to keep going? We've got a lot of questions going. I can mute myself if my dog is drinking too loud in the background.
Yeah, dog's fine. Dog's fine. I was just going to touch a little bit on how you were talking about the genes right there, Adam. So when you're looking at genes for you, are you looking at a gene that does all of it, like it does a color, it does pattern, it does everything, or are you looking more for the subtleties to enhance things, or a combination of all of it, I guess?
Everything. I tend to classify genes based on what they're going to accomplish, in my mind, at least. We already have it classified as, enhancers and then pattern or color and pattern or whatever.
Right.
But certain mutations are going to need certain kinds of genes in order to work with them. If you have a heavy color mutation, like all the albinos, for example,
right,
there's only so much you can do with an albino. Change the pattern, right? So I'm not going to be layering stuff on that's going to lighten an albino. I'm going to be layering on stuff that is going to darken albinos, right? All the dark genes, like with the lavender, leopard blackhead stuff, and
absolutely,
and the GHI, and like all these different things. Like that's where the opportunity lies for that gene, right? Other genes will have other avenues, but for albinos, you got to go dark and you got to go pattern. That's your two options,
right?
If you're looking at a heavy pattern gene, you can change the color,
right?
Because the pattern's already crazy. So you have two options. You can either try to mix it with another heavy pattern gene like leopard and spot nose, right? So you can put those together and hopefully mix up the pattern even more if one doesn't destroy the other, but you got to feel that out. But then once you get those crazy patterns, it's all about making those crazy patterns in your favorite colors. And so then you got to start with cancers and the albinos. And so every way you're working, where the most opportunity with that particular genetic lies, mixing in all the things that will help it but not hurt it. That's why I like to keep a fair number of single gene animals around because there's too many reactive genes. And so if I want one specific gene in there and I don't want another one, I'm going to have some single gene animals here and there to be able to get that one gene.
To get it.
I hate having to hope a gene doesn't hit in a clutch. I hate that. Hate that. And I don't like playing that game. I want the odds to be in the good way, not the bad way. So
right.
So I like to keep,
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Good.
Oh no, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I just like to keep certain animals around for certain things, with certain mixes, so that I know I can rely on that animal to get me where I need to be without having the side effect, in there.
Right. Yeah. And that makes sense. Yeah, like trying to avoid fire to fire, stuff like that.
Right, or yellow belly to yellow belly. Thankfully, ball python gods have smiled upon us, and they gave us a gravel, and they gave us a specter, ways to get out of the yellow belly complex without a white snake.
Right.
And then they smiled on us, and they gave us a vanilla to get out of the fire complex without a white snake in the disco.
Yeah.
And then the special to make a crystal instead of a blue-eyed Lucy. It's amazing that nature just built in all these back doors to help us out.
Yeah.
But,
I agree.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Man, so we do have some other questions that are coming in too, along with the genes and stuff like that. So
I see one from red drum reptiles. I love the lace white lace. By the way,
let's see.
On red drum, I love the lace white lace. It's incredible. That to me is so much in the future on that project, mixed with all the stuff we have already. And I'm working it pretty hard. I just need to make some stuff that are worth showing. But
don't tell people about lace yet.
I told everybody about red stripe, and no one did anything, so I feel pretty safe with this.
Somebody just asked what they should buy next because you said red stripes a few years ago. So I guess your answer to that is lace. There you go, people.
I love the lace.
Go grab the lace.
I'm doing everything I can with it. I look at lace like a recessive. I mean, it's a slight enhancer in the single gene, but the super is where it's at. So it's essentially recessive for me.
I saw a really pretty one yesterday. I can't remember what it was. It was gorgeous though. It was so yellow, and the pattern almost looked puzzle. Like, it was really cool.
They're like a mix between a puzzle and a desert ghost. The supers are.
Yeah.
The bellies are
so
wild,
pretty.
especially when you mix them with yellow belly. It's like there's just to me that's something special in the sense that's very different than what we have. Very different.
Right.
And it's sleeper too. It's been.
And speaking about things. What was that? Sorry.
I said it's a sleeper too. It's been around forever now, and no one's done.
Yeah,
much
that is very true. Yeah. Dan Wolf, I think, he was working with it too back in the day. So this is, I thought, a kind of a good question, something that we haven't talked about a lot. This is from Robert Hutchinson. Rob was asking, do you think there are values in imports? What are your view on imports?
Not a ton, to be honest with you. I've played that game. I've made some stuff. Unless it's really, really cool. There's two things that needs to be really, really, really cool, and you have to be willing to give your life to it, essentially. Because that's what it's going to take to bring it to market and have it be a real big winner. The way I look at imports now is imports are great, but I would have to dedicate a lot of my effort and time and clutches to it when I have guaranteed amazing, ridiculous, incredible stuff that I can work with all day long. Why am I dinking around here with something that's potential? For somebody who's newer in the market, I can see why it makes more sense. But they need to know that there's a good chance that it's not going to pan out to be the gold mine. Very, very, very few do. Doesn't mean they're not out there. They are, but they're going to take someone who's really dedicated to mine what's the value out of it.
Right. Put it to the right animals, market it properly, have the audience of what you talked about earlier. Yeah.
You pretty much have to have a full-blown business to really capitalize on a dinker. Really do. If you're going to build a full-blown business, then you got to really be dedicated.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I dabble on the import side on Morph Market and the dinkers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To see what's on there. And I always think that same thing. There are so many really, really, really awesome genes that I don't have that I know work.
Right.
So it's tough for me, but I always find myself on there like trying to play that lottery, you know, like, that would be really cool if that proved out.
Well, my best advice for that is get a girl, buy a girl.
Yep.
If it's a dinker, buy a girl, never a boy.
Right.
Rarely a boy.
Yeah.
It better be very special for a boy. But girls are low risk because you put them on the shelf, you bring them a few years, it doesn't pan out, you bred something nice anyways. You're good.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
you're still getting eggs out of that from something that you wanted, even if it's not working the way you want. Right.
Right. You got to dedicate a nice girl, and if it's nothing, you got nothing to show for it. It's tough.
Yeah, you got some nice normals.
Yeah.
And you have to figure with like some of the imports, at least, you have to figure that snake has passed like 4 or 5 hands by the time you're seeing it. I mean, I don't go down to the LA harbor and wait for snake shipments coming off the boat, right? So by the time it gets to me, it's probably going to be picked through, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and those guys are probably going to grab.
Most crazy imports are crazy because of incubation issues. That's the reality. And there are things to look for. So the number one thing you look for is any kind of malformation of the body, bug eyes, slightly messed up jaw. The other thing that usually goes hidden is if you look at their bellies, they'll have like a seam along their belly, if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, right.
Instead of having the little belly button, they'll have it like down the length of their belly. And that's just all signs of incubation issues. And when you see that, you know, okay, the crazy look of this snake is because there's probably egg stress along the way, and therefore it's not likely to be genetic. So that's why the number one thing you always have to look at that belly when you're looking at an import, because you got to see if there's any clues there.
Right.
As to why.
That's an interesting take. Yeah.
That's a good tip. You know, and that even applies to stuff we're all producing ourselves and incubating, right? You see something wacky pop out of the egg, start looking at the belly, other things like that, or, you know, just different deformities that happen, you know, could be incubation. Yeah.
Right. Or even a crazy looking baby, you think, oh, I hit on a new gene. You know, when someone sends me a snake, I usually ask them, first thing I ask them, what do the other babies in the clutch look like, right? Well, the other eggs went dead. Okay, that tells me what I need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
There's incubation issue.
Yeah. You know, and that can save some people some time, right? Because you know, all of us want to hit that awesome new gene, but you know, don't want to waste time and certain things like that. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see. I'm reviewing some other questions. I know it's 5 past the hour, but we wasted 15 plus minutes with the technical difficulties. So I'm sure.
Good to go if you go.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, I'm good too. I'm sure Joel is, but
no, this is.
We could take.
I'm not really that. This isn't my type.
Done, Joel?
That's funny.
Well, maybe we wanted to hit lightly.
Breeders. I see that. That's funny.
What was that?
Here.
Sorry.
I'm reading some of the questions here. Is there a green-eyed monster among breeders if one breeder gets a gene combination first? Yeah, I'm insanely jealous.
Yeah.
In a good-natured way, though, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I feel really excited for people, more so now than ever. When people make something crazy for me. And I also see sometimes it's better to be second to make things. It really is. And also, I've seen people make a combination that I've been working on for so long, so hard, and I'll see it made. I'm like, well, what was I wasting my time? I'm going a different way now. You know, it goes all different ways. And sometimes you get the confirmation that it was worth all your time and effort.
Right.
And that just stay the course a little longer. So, but there's certainly some real jealousy and some good-natured jealousy, and it's all good.
Yeah, and that sort of drives competition in the market.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's healthy to have competition.
Absolutely. Sure.
Let's
So you
do
got
it.
any questions from chat, or you want to do the gift one?
Oh man, we have so many questions from chat. I was kind of thinking maybe we could hit some of our lightning round questions, and then we can go fully into chat. So then that way we can just, pay attention over there. Yeah.
Okay. So lightning round. Justin, are you ready for this? This is really serious.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So first answer you got, just kind of let it fly. I guess you probably know how lightning rounds work.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue?
The one color I can't make in ball pythons.
Yeah, of course. Mine too. Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
It'll get there, right? It'll get there.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about jeans tonight. So now we're going to talk about the jeans that you wear. Do you do buttons or zipper?
Zipper guy.
Ah,
I don't got time for buttons.
yeah.
I don't got time for that. I got too much to do.
I don't have anything to do, so I'm a button guy, man.
Yeah, Joel's only found one other person that was a button guy.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the only guy, man. I'm the only guy. Okay, so favorite childhood movie?
Boy, I don't know why this jumped in my head first. It's a movie called Father's Day.
Okay.
It's probably fairly
Father's Day
obscure,
was
but
fun.
it's Robin Williams, Billy Crystal.
Yeah,
I
don't
watched
think
that over and over, man. We love that movie.
Yeah. Great actors.
Yeah.
Favorite thing to eat?
I'm pretty eclectic. I like all kinds of food, but I'm not a foodie per se. Whatever's in front of me.
Yeah, okay. Simple. You like to eat
Yeah,
then.
I'm
You
good.
just like to eat.
Yeah. Fair, man. I like to eat and get it over with.
Yeah, an efficiency thing. I'm pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you had any superpower, what would you have?
I do have a superpower, actually.
Okay, so did Ozzy. So that's
Chase and I have made up an entire superhero called Captain Hindsight. And he always knows what he should have done in retrospect.
yeah, Captain Hindsight is a great guy. Yeah.
So that's that. We use good job, Captain Hindsight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's my superpower.
Yeah.
I learn from my mistakes, and I forget about it. I learn from my mistakes, and I don't make them again. I try not to.
So what would be a superpower you don't have that you want?
What was that?
Flying, I guess.
Flying?
Yeah, I guess I'm a realist because nothing comes to mind. How weird is that?
Yeah, you're like the most creative person.
I wish I could read the mind of ball pythons. I wish I could read their mind when it comes to.
Yeah, okay. Like a Dr.
Why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
So,
there we go. Okay, I like
there
that.
you go.
That's, yeah. All right, well then you survived lightning round then. That was good. All right, we'll go to
Good
chat.
job, Justin. You survived the lightning round. Good job, my friend. All
right.
We have a ton of questions from chat, and they keep pouring in. Mrs. Beachbum is doing a great job feeding them over to me. We've gotten to some, but let me scroll back up to make sure we didn't miss any from the very beginning. This is kind of a fun question. Do you work with any other species aside from snakes, or any other snake species as well? We've had that asked a couple times.
Right. So I have in the past, and I do now a little bit, but I've had a lot of other species, over the years. But now I have a tangerine Honduran, hypotangerine Honduran, gorgeous. And then I have a few, what are they called? Cape file snakes from South Africa. And they are amazing snakes. Now, most of what you see when you hear a Cape file snake or see one, it's been captive imported, probably destined to die because they don't eat well on rodents. But I have got directly from South Africa that eats rodents, and it's amazing. They're incredible. Someday I'm going to bring them to market. I'll make a few. I haven't made any yet, but I have a trio, and they're some of the coolest snakes you'll ever handle. Really, really cool.
That's
They
awesome.
feel like shark
They're
skin.
black, right?
Yeah.
Primary.
They're black, and they feel like shark skin, or like a cheese grater. Like they feel like they're going to cut you almost. Their scales are sharp. It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, and they're real docile.
Cool.
Too. They're real docile.
Yeah.
The only downside to them is they won't eat rodents very well. But like I said, I bought this line that had been captive bred for generations eating rodents, and so we got something special.
Right. That is really special.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I haven't heard anybody mention that species before when we've asked. That's pretty unique and pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have a bunch of questions. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk about, I don't know if you have a chance, you could talk about maybe your work-life balance, balancing, I know you have children,
Go.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, and how many hours do you put in also? Because that was also asked.
Yeah, I probably average about 12 hours a day with snake work. 12 hours a day of actual snake work, and then every 5 seconds I'm answering a text for the rest of the day, probably.
Right.
I don't have good work-life balance. I have 5 kids,
Okay.
and they keep me very, very busy, as does work. And I don't even try to balance it, to be honest with you. I am flat out all day, just stuffing every bit of everything I can get in with both the kids and the wife and the snakes and employees and then whatever I want to do as a hobby. And,
Right.
I don't even try to balance, man. I just live my life. I live it full, and whatever I want to do at that moment, whatever is most pressing at that moment, I do it. So,
Right.
I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but
No, that's a real answer.
No,
Yeah.
that's a real answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have a good
Exactly.
life, man. I don't do a lot that I don't enjoy. I enjoy every bit of work and play and family and everything. It's great.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
So what do we have next here?
That was a good question from chat.
Yeah, that was a cool question.
What's in the
Yeah.
Starbucks cup? Coffee.
Was that you drinking coffee? Is that what you?
Yeah. That's what's in the cup.
Coffee is amazing. I love coffee. Yeah, so that's something that Garrett Hard,
Wait, was that
he always asks, tea or coffee. So I guess you answered that one. So it's coffee.
Coffee. I can't handle. Wife's a tea drinker. I can't handle it. It's just like drinking water, basically, to me. More flavor.
Yeah, I need a little more flavor too. When I first started drinking tea on the occasion, I used to call it dirt water, but it's I like tea now though. There's good teas. Let's see. All right.
Yeah,
Some of the other ones. This was a unique one from that one guy, Dan. Is there insurance for large collections in case anything crazy that happens? So is your collection insured?
That's a really good question. It is. And I'm the only one I haven't talked to a lot of people, but for years and years, I've searched for somebody to insure me.
Mm-hmm.
For years. And most home insurance will drop you if you ask them the question. You got snakes, you're out. You're off. You're kicked off our plan or policy or whatever. Lots of my customers kicked off their policies just for asking insuring snakes. But so I eventually, and it's auto owner's insurance. And I stumbled onto them, and I had an agent that was willing to go to bat for me. Yeah, I think I could insure it if you're in my home. The fact that I have a separate, facility, warehouse type situation helps animals, just like there's inventory of any business.
Right.
Against theft, against so I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better having that, that layer of protection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, heck yeah.
Put them out. Don't tell them Justin told you, because they might cancel my policy. but they treat me well.
Are we having a bad connection?
So hold on, yeah, we were kind of having some connection issues there for a second. So we did have a question pop in from from Brian Cusco, but he said he knows I'm gonna forget. So I don't know, did I forget or not forget?
No, it's from Ozzy.
I know.
You didn't ask a question.
Oh, I thought you said Brian was asking a question.
No, that was what he put in.
So I forgot to ask Ozzy when we were interviewing him for Brian about the true OG status, you know. So we got to ask Justin, you know, how did you gain the true OG status, my friend? Oh man, Cusco, way to go!
I don't know. That wasn't. That's placed upon me. I have not accepted it.
You never claimed that one.
Let's see. What are some other?
No, I wouldn't do that.
So the insurance one was really good. Let's see. We asked about adults.
Are you going to be
about kind of time spent on?
Are you going to vend Arlington and Tinley
What was that?
this year, Justin?
Yeah, I'm gonna time as a vendor this weekend.
Okay.
Jason is leaving in the morning with the snakes, and I'm out there get to fly, and super excited about it. Pretty awesome.
Right. So you gotta. If you were a ball python morph, what would you be?
I like that one.
Boy.
It could be a combo too. It could be a combo. Dualism.
A red stripe? I don't know. I like red. Yeah, I don't know. At that point, I'm just picking my favorite one.
I can respect that.
You broke up.
I love clowns, but I'm not a clown.
Yeah.
No, I heard you. I thought I heard you say super normal, but not a super normal.
Yeah, there you go. I'm pretty super normal.
There you go.
I like to think. As normal as a snake breeder can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right. So, you know, Joel, we didn't ask Justin. I know we kind of touched on some of this stuff earlier, but we didn't ask him. And we did get a question from 413 Exotics. If you didn't have financial backing, knowing what you know now, which genes and ratio of male-female would you say would be a great way to start? And I also want to add to that, infrastructure would be part of it, right? Normally, Joel, we normally give you $3,500, but I think for tonight, we'll just kind of leave it open-ended, you know, from your perspective.
Yeah. You know, the question is not answerable without knowing what are you trying to accomplish.
Right.
You know, are you trying to be a pet owner? Are you trying to be a hobby breeder? Are you trying to be, you know, a professional breeder? And that's what I ask people a lot. You know, when someone comes to me and says, "I want to buy some snakes," okay, what are you trying to accomplish? You know, let me help you get there. But what's your goal? Reality is that if you're trying to be a snake, a professional snake breeder, you need to have clear eyes about 3,500 is not going to get you there. You know,
right?
If you want to make a specific mutation, then yeah, buy what you need as much as you can to get that specific thing. That's a different goal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. Well, let's say I wanted to be a hobbyist breeder, right? Where I don't want to be like professional. I don't mind keeping my day job, but I would like the hobby to pay for itself.
Okay.
I guess how much money do you think you would need to invest in today's market to establish yourself kind of like that, right? You think that'd be 5,000, 10,000?
I think 10 would get you along that way pretty well. Maybe even 5. I don't think that numbers are super part of the equation, to be honest with you, because you can get some amazing snakes. You're just going to have to establish yourself based on what you have. It can be the cool snake you're making, or it can be personality driven. But you know what this business needs is more people to be passionate about what they believe in. You know, and I think that's
Right.
Yeah.
a big driver of JKR's success, is that for years I didn't make the craziest, newest stuff. Okay, for years I didn't, and I did great, because no matter what I was making, I was completely sold on my vision, on my product, and it became contagious to anybody I talked to. They believed in it, you know, and now that's translated to where, you know, I always joke. People say, you know, what's the next big thing, Justin? And I always say, I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
And it's just a joke, because, you know, obviously, but in a way it's not, because I believe that if I believe enough in my own product, and if I'm super sold on what I do, then other people just would love to be a part of it too. And
Right.
but it's all around about say no matter what your budget is, if you have that contagious sold on what you believe in, doesn't matter what morph you get into, people are going to want to jump on board with you on it, and they're going to want to be involved, and they're going to support you on it.
Right. Right.
So it's not really, I don't think it's really a financial thing for most people. If you want to be a big time breeder, you're going to have to spend some money, no question. But in the end, that's not going to determine your success.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Effort and input in, right? Like, I think like today, our industry hobby has kind of progressed past the point of literally just buying an animal, reproducing it, and then you're set, right? Now much
That's
more
the old
goes
school.
into it, where,
Yeah.
you know, like, yeah, you need, it's a multifaceted kind of business without using corporate buzzwords to,
Yeah.
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 For sure.
You gotta
Yeah.
have passion though, because passion's gonna drive that motivation. That motivation's gonna drive the success.
That's right. That's right. And that's
Exactly.
why I don't tell people what they should get into, because if I tell them what they're getting into, they're pretty much sunk. They're done. You know,
Right.
it's got to come from within.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that answer a lot. Yeah.
You know, and so some people have asked specific questions about certain morphs. I don't know if we really want to get into that right now, because that kind of, you know, feathers into a lot of other things. But, you know, this is kind of a non-reptile topic, which I think is kind of fun sometimes to bring into these. JK Morphs had asked, outside of ball pythons, what's something you're passionate about? You know, for example, charities, causes, whatever you're passionate outside of reptiles.
Okay, well, I'm pretty involved with my church. You know, I'm a Christian, and I'm pretty involved with my church, and we have a lifestyle of belief. You know, and my wife homeschools my kids. She stays home and homeschools our kids. I'm passionate about adoption. We've adopted 2 children from China now, and that's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. It's another thing my wife pushed me to do that I wasn't ready for, that turned into a total awesomeness.
Yeah, imagine.
I'm passionate about right now. I'm passionate about cars. I don't know what a good friend of mine got me into really looking at cars lately, and trying not to spend my money on it. And,
Right.
But I think you know, I've little free time, but to me, I think church and family are my 2 big things that I invest my free time in.
Right. That's really cool. Yeah, because that's what it is. You know, it's what little time you have. You know, you have to do what you want for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, exactly. You know, I watched your video when you guys went over to China and all of that, and I mean that's amazing, man. Like that life path that you guys set on to do that. That I thought that was really cool. So
yeah, that was more scary to me doing snakes full time, because I had no control over that. You know, you adopt a child. We didn't even adopt a child. We adopted children that were 5 and 8, or 4 and 8, and so you really are taking a child on with very little knowledge in advance of what you're really going to be dealing with until you get them back home and dealing with the trauma and the different life things that they've gone through. And you cannot be prepared for it. And yet giving of yourself to another person is, man, it's just a reward that you'll never, it really has no equal in this life. I really believe that.
Yeah. That's super special, man. And, you know, thank you for sharing that right now with us and kind of how you were going about that. And
dog battle.
I feel like you have some excitement going on.
Yeah, the background noise was Heather. He has to make a guest appearance right now. So he broke through all of the baby gates and went and got the old dog. Yeah, we've got our little puppy here. Sorry, everybody, on that. This is Loki, and we'll be sending him to Justin later. So
yeah,
he's a mini English Bull Terrier.
Yeah, high white pied.
Oh, scratch.
Yeah, mini English Bull Terrier. He is all scratched up, and the cats and him are just becoming friends. So, hey, Loki, are you gonna be quiet so we can finish this? No. Not happening.
Well, you want to give it a couple more minutes, see if anybody comes up with some stuff in chat, and then you know, I don't want to take up anybody's more time. You know, I know everybody has lives, so if there's anything else kind of going on, maybe we can get some questions going. I don't know if we missed something. If we did, can you guys just post it really quick for us?
Yeah, repost, do some other stuff. So we did have something come in that Heather had posted from Robert Mindowski, and earlier when we were talking about the Pete Call story. So he wanted to know, did you actually work something out, or did you decline his offer? What was the end?
Oh, that's a long story. That's a story of many chapters. But in short, yes, I did take him up on it. And that was the original foundation of the Dreamsicle project for me. Yeah. Yeah. Because he had pies out the one too, you know, before everyone else did.
Right.
But there's a lot of chapters to that story. Not all of them are good, but no, in the end it's all good.
Right.
So and it's a good and learning experience.
Right. There you go. Growth mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And let's see, somebody else asked, and this is kind of interesting. It's something we haven't talked about too much on any of the other interviews, but Justin, do you believe wholesaling will become a bigger part of the market with more people breeding and trying to get rid of their lower animals? And that was from Derek Rice.
I don't think so. The way I see the market now, I think that it's actually becoming a smaller part of our market.
Right.
Just because most of the big producers in our market are pretty much going to be wholesaling to the box stores, you know. I'm not sure there is more people breeding now than there used to be. It may be the same, but I think there's more hobbyist breeders, more people who are passionate about their stuff. And I think for the most part, they'll sell to their local pet stores. I don't think that we're going to see an uptick in the wholesale market, really.
Right.
I think the demand's growing faster than the supply right now by a long shot, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, just from my own personal experience, you know, I think that wholesaling isn't bad, right? Like if you have big box stores that want to take product, I mean, that's just a sector of the market. Yeah, not bad, right? And like you were saying, once you saw Pied hit the PetSmart and the Petcos, you knew that this ball was picking up. I mean, the more we see these multi-gene animals in a consumer store like that, that's not the downfall, guys. Like, we have to realize that's a market picking up. Right?
Yeah.
Because if a store is willing to invest in that, and these people don't invest in things willy-nilly, right?
Right.
You know, so they see something there. Hey, you know, and us as breeders or people that are interested in breeding and love these animals, this is something that we can participate in. It doesn't mean it's the end. So.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's good for us. I think it's good for us across the board. I don't see anything negative, any negative trends in the market, to be honest with you, at all. You read it the right way.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's see. Let's see, what else? I think I've kind of nailed some. Let's see, do you see your, oh, here we go. Rude Dog Reptiles had asked, do you see your collection growing any further, or have you reached your sweet spot?
I'm definitely in the sweet spot. I've been here now for probably 5-6 years, exactly where I'm at. This is the sweet spot. Any further growth would require a significant increase in overhead. Also, there's this situation where you, especially when you're on that cutting edge, you wouldn't be careful to produce, but not to overproduce. And there's always this little dance that's going on.
Yeah.
And you lead the market in different directions, but you don't necessarily want to continue just to fill it in and take away sales from your customers. And so there's a lot of there's so much that goes into all that, and there's no rules. It's just a gut and a feel. And I feel like I've gotten pretty good at it. But growth, any growth I had from here on out would only be pushing into a new project, not expanding anything. The only way I actually grow is when I'm forced to, because I want to be a part of something that I don't have yet. I'm not I'm seeing the same number of clowns, the same number of pied projects, same number of lavender projects. And because that's, you kind of get to a spot where it just works.
Right.
So,
all right. Yeah, that was a good one. We did have somebody else post. This is Elijah Collins. When starting to work with recessives, do you recommend male or female visuals and or male or female hats?
So I always say start with the female visual. They're gonna be like gold, year after year after year. Pretty much all my initial recessives were females. And at the time, I kind of thought I was making a mistake by getting the females first. The market told me I was making a mistake. Lots of people told me that, because you get the male and you just get het females and you just run them, But what you don't realize, female, year after year, you can throw a new codom het to it and keep pushing it forward. She'll be valuable for decades.
Right.
Good for decades. I don't even know how long ball pythons breed. I've never had one get over, too old to breed. They're just fantastic. But no, female visual, always worth it.
Right.
Always worth it. You can change the males. You change out every other year, but the females, they remain, man. They remain their value. They're bedrock. So with them.
Right.
Would you feel the same with non-recessive, like a codom or dominant trait?
I do feel the same about them.
Okay,
actually.
that's cool.
Unless it's a trait that I want to put into a lot of my stuff, I always grab a girl. Just always grab a girl.
Cool.
And yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's interesting, because sometimes I feel like the general advice there is to get a male first to, get the project
That's
off.
a good way. It's good in the short term. It's good
Right.
in the short term, but long term, all you're doing is taking profits out of your long term and feeding it to the short term.
Right.
And I don't like doing that. I'd rather just keep putting off the success until it can't be put off anymore because you kept reinvesting.
Right. Yeah, and then it all just explodes.
And then you can't help it. Everything is a success, at that point, because you didn't try to feed off it too early.
Yeah. I like
that. All right. I mean, questions have kind of slowed down, and we're at the kind of little over hour and a half mark. Justin, any words of wisdom you'd like to leave everybody before we kind of wrap this all up here?
Boy, I don't know. How about one last question? This is like a good one to end on. Justin, do you think it's worth chasing quad recessives? That's the best way to tackle
that. Is a good one.
So, I'm the multi-recessive guy. I love them. I have quad hets, plenty of them. But I think that there is no single formula. A lot of people, I think, I hear it all the time, like, oh, the future is quad hats, the future is triple hats, the future is double hat or double visuals, triple visuals, recessives, whatever. There's no formula that you can produce an animal that's going to be right, that's going to ensure your success. You're going to need to focus first on what is amazing, what is undeniably crazy, and sometimes it's going to be the quad recessives, but
Right.
shoot, I'd rather make a double recessive with the right codoms than have a quad recessive that looks like,
Right.
blah, you know, oh, he's got four recessives in it. That's great. Go sell it to somebody.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
To me, having extra genes means I want it to look crazy. I want it to look amazing, and I want it to like shake people when they see it, like show them what's possible. And sometimes that is multi-recessives, and sometimes it's not.
Right.
So
Yeah, there's some really pretty two gene snakes that are they're pretty wild.
Yeah. There's no formula. That's the thing in the end. No one thing to do, but follow your goals and follow your passion and bring people along and convince them to come with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sell the dream, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that a lot, though. Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Went through a sex change.
Yeah, Adam changed dramatically.
Hi guys. Sorry, Adam needed a break, and so he wanted me to ask a question. They've been coming up in chat a lot. What did you think of your first Pomona show?
Huge. It was massively amazing, and the coolest thing is that there's so many people out there that I've been talking to for years that I've never met because they live way out there on the West Coast. So.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy you came out there this year. That was so fun seeing you out there. That was like my first big show I ever went to, because I'm on the West Coast, so like over there, and it was like, so yeah, it's cool to see like in the past 2 or 3 years how big that show's gotten. I feel like it's huge right now. Huge.
It shows where our market's going. You know, it shows the interest.
Right.
And I love LA. I love California. Is the place that maybe I don't want to live there, but I want to go there as often as possible. So
I can understand that.
What?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to live here. It's great here.
I'm not sure my money would go quite as far, but yeah.
Yeah. It seems a little more expensive.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's a great place to visit. My brother.
Just the housing. True.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go to my first Tinley to be able to compare it to Pomona, because Pomona is one of my favorites. I actually really like the Costa Mesa all pet show too. That one's a lot of fun and mixes it up a little bit from all reptiles.
Yeah.
Are you going in March to Tinley?
Well, that's up in the air right now. We were originally planning on it, but some other things have transpired, so we're not sure yet.
Yeah.
Well,
But anyway, Adam's back, so I'll turn it back over.
Guest appearance by Mrs. Beach Bum.
pretty awesome.
Well, okay. We can kind of. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, we can start wrapping up.
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever you
Yeah, I'm
say.
kind of thinking so.
Hey, Renowned Reptiles, I am coming to the Sacramento show this year. 100%.
Oh yeah, Sacramento is great, Justin. If you haven't been up there, it's a really good show.
My dad lives in Napa, so it's a good family/business trip. I'm definitely coming.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Sweet.
I really want to make it to that show. Nick from Renowned is up there. He's a cool guy.
Looking forward to it. That's awesome. Really awesome.
I love that everybody said that I looked better when my wife sat down. Appreciate that, you guys.
Well, that's how you want it to be. Ideally, you don't want it to be the other way.
100%.
Fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
know she's the looker out of the two. So, oh man. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, do you go to Daytona, Justin? Have you been to the Daytona show? Or?
I went to every one in a row for like 12 years, and then I missed a couple. But I'm there most years, not as a vendor, but as a visitor.
As a visitor, that's one of the shows I got to get out. I got to go to the Daytona.
I'd like to make that.
Made that one yet.
you'll enjoy it. It's a good show, good people, and it's on the beach, so I can't. It's good.
Yeah,
for a
how can
beach
you
bum.
go wrong? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you are a beach bum, so
Yeah, I am a beach bum. I gotta go, I guess. All righty. Well, I really want to appreciate Justin.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man, for coming on, agreeing to do the interview with us. Been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Had a lot of good topics tonight. Yeah.
yeah, and
And thank you everybody out there who joined us tonight. This was one of our real good ones. Had some good questions. Joel?
it's tough too, because I really think we could talk for another 2-3 hours. So what we've made everybody agree to that we've had is for round 2. So we'll have to get you on here again, and then we'll kind of move forward with where we started. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was awesome, and some of the insights you gave us all tonight is that's what we need. I feel like this is the kind of stuff we need to keep moving the community in the right direction. So really, really grateful, and thank again everybody who showed up. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your question. It was fun. A lot of fun.
But
Cool, man.
I guess on that note, we'll wrap it up. And
All right.
We'll have to do. I'll do this. I'll do the State 48 sign off.
yeah.
Yeah, we get to. All right, guys.
All right, see you guys
Have a good
later.
one.
See you guys.